What's up, y'all? How are we today? I'm excited to have you guys here. Welcome to my channel, Joyful Living. My name is Joy. I know, we're punny. But today, I want to talk to y'all about a really important topic. I want to talk to you about money, honey, okay? Finance. That was really cheesy. Get used to it. It's fun over here. A little chaotic. But I'm really passionate about this topic. Last week, I spoke about my finance journey, how I went from broke and stressed to stable and blessed, super poetic, if you will. And this week, I want to talk about your foundation of your money. And I think it's important to note that I was a financial professional for 4 years, and I learned a lot about money. I've learned in a lot of different spaces. Obviously, I don't know everything, but I have learned from experience, good, bad, and ugly, around money and everything there is to it. So let's jump right in because I have an information-packed episode for you today. This is going to be really helpful. I promise if you start taking these concepts, you chew them and apply them, they are going to make a difference in your life. And if you're already doing these, pat yourself on the back because you're a step ahead, right? So money foundation, and for my believers, for my people that believe in Jesus, I'm going to talk about tithing as well. I'm looking over here because this is where my notes are. So, like I said, I was broke and stressed. Let's get into it. I used to be the type of girl that didn't check my bank account. I had no awareness of money going in, coming out. Money was literally just seeping out of my pores. Like, not in like I have a bunch of money, but like I'd blink and my money disappeared. It's like, where's Waldo, right? Looking on the page, can't find it. I was undisciplined. I was avoidant. I was in my own world. And there were beliefs that kept me in that space. My beliefs around money, there's never enough. Even if I learn, even if there is enough, it won't change anything. And so I treated money like it was always leaving because I believed that it was. Now, if this sounds familiar to you, I get it. I've been there. And why did I bring that up first? Because your foundation of money is not a bank account. It's not a trust fund. It's not having a silver spoon in your mouth or getting a lump sum to start out your adult journey. That's not what a foundation of money is. A foundation for your money is actually your mindset, your habits, your beliefs, right? I know that sounds like left field. If you'll go back in my last couple months, I've talked about mindset, discipline, and beliefs in multiple places. And it's funny because I focus on these specific topics each week. I break down and I ask myself questions. And I structure these to be individual topics, but the more I talk about these things, the more I'm realizing it's a big woven tapestry. It's all connected. And so how people say how you do one thing is how you do everything. And in some instances, I believe that. But I'm just going to say it sounds better to say you carry you wherever you are. So wherever you go, that's where you are. You know, if there's problems that you're having with your money or in your fitness or in your faith, what's the common denominator? You. And that shouldn't be something that's offensive. That shouldn't be like, oh, you're doing a terrible job. That's not it. It should be something that's good to hear, because then when you realize that you are the common denominator, that means that you have the ability to fix it. If you figure out that the problem is you, that's good news. It's good news because guess what? You can fix that problem. That was me. That was my money problem. People think that rich parents, the lottery, luck, learning in school, things you're given, we think that that is what's going to give us the leg up. And yes, I will say statistically, nurture versus nature, like if you have a silver spoon in your mouth, it's a lot easier. You start from a higher starting point. But even if you grew up with parents who didn't know what to do with money, that doesn't mean that you're automatically shot from the beginning, right? That doesn't mean that you don't have the capability to grow and learn and overcome your circumstances, right? So the reality is a money foundation is built. It's not given. And your parents can help you build it, good or bad. Your environment can help you build it. Your school can help you build it. Sometimes not really. It's learnable, it's scalable, and it's something that you earn over time. You cannot wake up tomorrow and change the trajectory of your money. I hate to say it. If you're in credit card debt and you're struggling month to month and you're losing money in the cracks, you're not going to wake up and it be magically fixed tomorrow. Don't take that a bad way. It takes time, right? But I promise you, if you stick to learning and being diligent and being disciplined and doing the hard things when it comes to your finances, one day you're going to wake up and look back and go, how was I ever that person? How was I ever struggling in that way? I'm so far removed from what I used to believe about money and from how I showed up with money. It's not even funny. Oh my God, I'm rhyming. Today's going to be a rhyming day. Sorry, y'all. I'm just dropping bars. Next, I'll put it in a rap song. Kidding, maybe. But that's the reality. It's especially hard for you people that have family that has negative beliefs around money, or who doesn't have a lot of money, right? You know, like there's never enough, or money is the root of all evil, or rich people do bad things. Not only are you having to build good habits, you're also having to unlearn everything that was ever told to you, right? If you witnessed financial instability growing up, that's something that sits with you, even if you don't realize it. And so one thing that you're going to have to do throughout this process is evaluate your beliefs around your money. What do you believe about money, and how is that affecting your day-to-day? How is that affecting how you approach money, right? Because I can tell you the me 3 years ago that was really, really struggling, her beliefs around money and mine are not even close to the same. And neither are our bank accounts. Amen? Amen. Yes. Your foundation is your budget, your habits, what you say yes and no to daily. So you can think it's a monthly thing, you can think it's a yearly or quarterly thing. No, babe, it's daily. It's daily decisions. Do I get that extra coffee in the morning? Like, for example, I've just had a long week. I've been super, super busy, and I like coffee, and so I looked in my coffee account. Well, before I looked, I was like, okay, if I have money in this account to be able to buy a coffee out today, I'm going to do it. If I don't, I'm going to go home and I'm going to make coffee at home. I looked, and there was enough money by like 20 cents for me to get the coffee that I wanted. So you know what I did? I went and got that coffee. And you know what? Here's the difference between me then and me now. Me then, even if I didn't have the money, I would have chosen to get that coffee anyway and spent money. Me today, I know without a shadow of a doubt, if there hadn't been enough money in that account, I wouldn't have gotten any coffee, because that's what I told myself before I even looked. Do you have that level of discipline and conviction? And yes, I know you're saying, I can hear it now. It's just coffee, babe. That's the thing. It's not. And I'm not saying to cut your $5 coffee out. I'm not saying to change your whole habits. I'm saying to be aware of what you're saying yes to day in and day out, right? It can be easy to swipe your card, especially since money is all digital nowadays. You don't pull out the cash and hand it over to the cashier. It's much more digital now. You don't sense that as you losing money as easily as we used to. It's a psychological thing I'm not going to get into, but it's what you say yes and no to daily, and it's your awareness of money. So are you aware of what you're spending? Are you aware of what's coming in and out? Like, for example, your subscriptions. How many Netflix accounts do you have? I realized I had 2 different CapCut accounts, and I have a budget app that I watch, I would say, like a hawk. I mean, I'm on it weekly. Whenever I do big purchases, I try to, before I go to make a big purchase, I go and look and make sure it's in my account. Like, I just did one today, and I double checked and I was like, oh yeah, we're fine, right? It's not a lump sum. It's not a big overarching idea. It's the little things consistently. That is what your money foundation is built on. So the hard truth, I'll save when I make more. This is what I hear a lot of people say. When I make more money, then. That's not how it works, babe. That's not how it works. So it's not when I make more money, then I will. Or when I get to this, then I will do that. Right? You're postponing happiness, you're postponing growth, you're postponing the ability to take advantage of what you have now. So I heard this a lot. Whenever I was a financial professional, I heard this a lot. I'll save when I make more. I will tithe when I make more. I will invest when I have more. That's a lie, right? For all my believers, and even if you don't, this is still a good money story. So whenever I was writing this out, the parable of the talents came up. And it's a master that has 3 servants, and he's going away on a long journey. But before he does, he gives these servants each an amount of money that is equivalent to their abilities. So one, it's called talents, right, which is a form of money back then. So one got 10 talents, which was a lot of money. One got 5, and one got 1. And the master went away, and the first 2 that got the bigger amounts, they took their money and they invested it, and they grew more, and they doubled their money. So the one that got 10 turned it into 20. The one that got 5 turned it into 10. The one that got 1, he was nervous and he was scared and he was afraid he was going to mess it up. So he went out into the field, dug a hole, and buried it. And then whenever the master returned, he said, talked to the servants. He was like, all right, what did you bring me? What have you made? What have you multiplied with what I've given you? And for the first 2, they were like, hey, we doubled our money. And he was like, well done, my good and faithful servant. Well done, because I have given you an amount and you have stewarded it well. You have taken care of it well. The one that had 1, he came back and he said, I knew you were a harsh man, and I knew that you wanted your money to grow, and I was afraid that I was going to lose it. I was afraid that I wasn't going to, earn interest, or I was going to lose your money, so I buried it. And here's the 1 talent back. And you know what he says? The master says, you wicked and evil servant. And he took the talent away and he gave it to the one who had the most. And he said, where much is given, much will be required. But when you don't take care of what is what little is given, even what you have will be taken away. If you don't take care of the little that you are given, even what the little that you have, and this is what gets me, is the little that you have will be taken away. And he was thrown out. He was thrown out of the house. And that to me is really touching, because it's not about the big things. It's not about the big paychecks. It's not about getting the big money, or it'll happen when, or if, or I don't have space and time now. You won't be trusted with the big things if you can't steward the little things well. And that's something I'm still working on. And that's something that's really important, because how is God going to give you something that you can't take care of? He's not going to overwhelm you with things that you cannot handle. Even the good things. Because if you get the good things, it says, I think in Proverbs, a blessing before its time ends up being a curse instead. Like, if you get what you're supposed to get before you're ready for it, you're going to mess it up, essentially. Even if you were to come into a lump sum like the lottery, yes, it makes people's lives better, but about a third of people, I was looking it up, about a third of people end up filing bankruptcy at some point, because you can get a lump sum of money, but then you're just going to do what you did with the small money. It's going to disappear. You're going to spend it on this, or your threshold for spending is going to get higher, right? Even if you make 6 figures, if you don't steward that well, you can still be broke and still live paycheck to paycheck, right? So, being trusted with little looks like how you handle your current paycheck. What are you doing with your current paycheck? What does it look like? How disciplined are you right now? And what are the daily disciplines that you are making with your money, or the daily decisions, right? So I'm going to get into stewardship and tithing. So stewardship, I looked up the definition. It's being entrusted to manage what you've given. Being entrusted to manage what you've been given. So I believe through my faith, every good thing comes from the Lord, and everything that we have is His to begin with. And so He's given me this opportunity, and you take it how you will. I know you work for your money. I want everybody to have their own, you have your own faith. I'm not pushing mine on you, but I'm just telling you my opinion. So stewardship is taking care of what you've been given. It's not for selfish gain, right? It's a responsibility. And that goes beyond, when you're like single and you don't have anybody relying on you, it's you taking care of you, but then you add dependence and all of that stuff, and it's a lot, right? It can be a lot. So, tithing. I want to get into tithing because you're the manager of your money, you're not just a spender, And tithing, in my opinion, is a big piece of it. And yes, tithing can feel uncomfortable. I know I just went left field, but stay with me. So tithing is a part of stewardship. And if you don't know what tithing is giving the best and the first 10% back to God, or, back to the church or charity or whatever. I tithe to my church. I have a regular church. I'm not pushing tithing because it has to be done with a certain heart, right? God says that it shouldn't be done out of obligation. It should be done with a cheerful heart. So if this isn't your cup of tea, I'm only going to be here for a couple minutes to stay with me. But if this resonates with you, I want you to just lean in for a second. I used to say, how am I able to tithe when I can barely pay my bills? I can barely pay my bills, so why am I going to be giving money away that I don't have? And then I started building my relationship with God, and tithing is a form of trust. It's trusting that God can do more with 90% of your money than you can do with the whole 100. It's putting your money where your mouth is, essentially, if you trust and follow God. It is hard to do. And, whenever I was doing my budget with my dad, whenever I first started getting into being educated on my money and paying attention to it, my dad told me that I actually inspired him to start tithing again because he had a money wound with the church. Because some pastors always talk about money and all that stuff. And I get it. Church hurt is real. We're not going to get into that today because it's a totally different topic. But tithing isn't for the people. It isn't for the church. It's for you. It's for your heart. So that you can be reminded that everything that you have is God's. And be reminded of the trust that you have in Him. And this is hard for me. And I honestly have mine on auto pay. And sometimes I think I should make it a discipline to give it away every month so that it's conscious. That just came to me. But in my personal life, with my personal tithing, life expanded when I started tithing again. When I started budgeting and when I started tithing, income started coming in. I landed a new job that was more money than I had ever made, which wasn't a ton. Looking back now, I'm glad I got a raise. But it was a lot from where I was. And it stretched my trust in God through action. That was stressful. I did not like it, okay? I did not like seeing any bit. And it can start small, but it was hard for me to watch. And then over time, I realized that I was being blessed for that. And I was working on giving with a cheerful heart, not obligation, right? So anyway, moving on from tithing, stewardship is bigger than just giving. It's not about donating money. It's about how you build and manage resources. So good people with money equals more impact, right? If you're a good person and if you're wanting to do good in the world, you can do more good with more money, right? But that's all about how you steward it and all about how you build that foundation. So having money allows you to give from your overflow, right? You want to talk about taking care of the poor, helping others, investing in, community and all that stuff. You can expand God's kingdom that way. You can expand your charity that way or build a nonprofit, whatever that is for you. You can help make the world a better place when you have more money to do that. I mean, I hate to say it, you don't need money to change the world, but doesn't it make it a whole heck of a lot easier, right? It's about growing what you've been given. So I know that was a lot of key ideas. That was a lot of big ideas. We're going to get into the practical shift. So I want you to start with awareness. I've talked about this last week. So being aware of what's coming in, what's going out, simple habits. I want you to start, number one, I want you to start writing down your beliefs about money. I just want you to write money on a paper and just start writing down I believe that it's never enough, or money doesn't ever stick with me, or money's really good to me, or money always comes into me, those affirmations. I want you to just word vomit on page what you feel and what comes up when you think about money and finances. And I want you to just look at it and evaluate it honestly, because that's where you start, what you believe, right? Because your beliefs direct your decisions. That wasn't on my sheet. That just came out. That just came out of my brain. But it's true. Your beliefs direct your decisions. So start there. And then write the opposite. Write the truth. Money is a thing. It's, build a better relationship with money. It's like there's so many things I could say. I'm like overflowing with what I want to share with y'all because finance is such an important topic. It's such an important topic because literally I'm speechless right now because I have so much to say, but all I'll say is that it's really important. And I don't think some people realize how empowering it is to be financially independent and aware. Right? And how many opportunities that gives you and how much peace it gives you. And no, peace should not come from money. Okay? Peace should come from God above, right? If you want to get real cheesy. But I will tell you, I've known God in the worst moments of my life, and I've known God in the highest points of my life. And doing the diligent work of learning about my money and getting uncomfortable has helped with my peace. I can breathe. I feel like God is providing for me, right? So, simple habits. I want you to do that beliefs exercise and then pray about tithing. If you feel like you want to tithe, tithe. If you feel like it's not your time, have a conversation with God, right? Just become aware of your relationship with money because we have a relationship with everything. It's not just romantic, it's not just family, it's not just friends, but it's relationships to money and food and alcohol and addictions and all these other things. Like you have so many relationships to people and things and ideas we don't even know. And I'm definitely getting way off track, but bringing it back together. So I want you, last practical shift, I want you to do one uncomfortable action. Whether it is paying off a small or like making a payment toward a credit card or a debt or doing your taxes. If you're avoiding your taxes, babe, I'm talking to you. Yes, they're due this week. Do your taxes. It's not that hard. TurboTax. I have an accountant, aka my dad, that does it with me and helps me. And fix something you've been avoiding, even if it's small, something on your car or something that needs to get fixed in your house or just one thing that's been burning a hole in your pocket and your brain, and just face that, right? Even if it is just becoming aware of that. So do one thing today. You don't have to do everything. So in closing, your situation is not stuck. Your foundation is fixable. It's buildable and it's growable. You can grow it, right? You can change the trajectory of your finances and your future. I made excuses for years. I barely got by for years. I didn't give it 100%. And the shift finally happened when I started budgeting. I started tithing. I took action and I stopped making excuses. Okay? Are we victims of our circumstance or are we victors of our circumstance? And last thing in closing that I want you to think about, who do you become when you do what you say you're going to do? When you start honoring your needs, especially financially. When you start staying true to your word. If I say I'm going to do something, I know I'm going to do it. That's building trust with yourself, right? All these little things can bring discipline, peace, and independence, empowerment. Like, the other option is avoiding it, and that leads to stress, resentment, and frustration. I know this was a little bit all over the place, a little bit chaotic, but I had an outline, and then everything I've ever wanted to share about finances is like trying to spill out of me today. You can tell I'm passionate about this topic. I feel like this is a really important thing in your life, and I just pray that you will be bold enough to face it and bold enough to believe for more. And even if it's tithing $5, that's for somebody. You said, all I have is $5. All I can give right now is $5. Then give $5. Say, God, it's the story of the woman who gave all she had. There was Jewish leaders dropping gold coins galore into the tithing bucket. And this woman came up with her 2 last pennies and put them in the tithing box. And Jesus said, that woman has given more than all of these Jewish leaders combined. Why? Because she gave everything that she had. And so I'm not asking you to give everything you have, but I'm challenging you to step out of your box, to step out of your comfort zone, and start moving toward financial freedom. It's possible, and it's going to happen if you stay disciplined and consistent. And honestly, next week we will be diving into how to do that. I will be breaking down budgets and all of that stuff. We will be getting into saving. Week after that, investing and growing. Like, I'm going to get you the goods, okay? So stick with me. I appreciate you guys for who you are. I am so excited that we get to do this live together and that we get to do it joyfully. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys next time.